the X-Files reboot that you have been cast in with Ryan Coogler. What were those conversations like that convinced you that this was something that you wanted to do?
He said, "Hi, I'm Ryan Coogler," and I said, "Bet."
There's a lot of scrutiny already from the fans.
Who talking? Who? Ain't nobody. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
It was enough that Gillian Anderson was asked about it, and she kind of urged fans to give it a chance. What did that mean for you to have her say that to people?
Oh, I didn't know. I think that that's kind. When handles are being kind of like passed over, I think we had to get out of this idea that something has to remain. And I think that that's honorable and beautiful of Jillian to encourage folks to remain open-minded.
Hello and welcome to Obsessed, the podcast. I'm Matt Wilstein from The Daily Beast, and today on the show, we have a brilliantly talented actor who you may know from films like Till and Carry On, as well as some of my favorite TV shows of the past several years, including Watchmen and Station 11. You can currently see her in two more HBO series that could not be more different from each other: Rooster, opposite Steve Carell, and the highly anticipated third season of Euphoria. Danielle Deadwyler, welcome to Obsessed, the podcast.
Matt Wilstein, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. You have so much going on, and I want to get to as much of it as we can, but I figured we'd start with Rooster on HBO, which is currently in its first season, and congrats on the season 2 pickup.
Aye. Thank you. Wild.
Yeah, are you happy?
I mean, I'm blessed. It's cool to be able to keep, figuring things out and experimenting and playing. I mean, uh, it's art. I love it. I love to play. So yeah, I'm super grateful. Thank you for that.
Well, I've really been enjoying this show and enjoying your performance on it. I would say it's more overtly comedic than a lot of the work that you've done. Is that part of what drew you to it? That it's a different tone in some ways than a lot of what you've been able to do?
Yeah, I mean, I you get in a certain rhythm and then you gotta change that thing up. And that's what this is. This is we're definitively in a new season globally. Like things are doing flipping the pancake over, right? And the shit is bubbly. So yeah, if it's hot, I mean, it's showing it's ready. You have to change. And I'm just allowing myself to go with the flow of this revolution of life and revolution of self. Yeah.
I imagine that it might be somewhat intimidating to perform comedy opposite someone like Steve
Not at
Carell.
all. What do you mean? The neophyte in this thing, whatever. No, I was actually pretty calm about the whole thing. And just from the experience of the read together, I was just allowed to be, myself and to explore it with him. It wasn't like show me your best, right? Or show me your best. But it wasn't a pressure cooker or at all. And it was a group of people who wanted you to blossom and to play and to figure it out, right? I think a lot of times people are just really figuring it out in the audition state, right? Are you revealing a thing to us that we have not yet witnessed or thought of for the character? And so it was just flow. I mean, it's different because it yields a different audience response. But I heard Steve say one time that, the characters don't know they're in a comedy. The characters are just being it or a character shouldn't know that they're in a drama. They're just living, and the response is the response of the audience, and I found that you know, um, so beautiful to take into account, which is, you're not playing for jokes. You're not playing for tears. You're playing the living, the being of the character.
Yeah. That scene from the first episode where you take him home and try to seduce him, unsuccessfully, I would say. Was that the scene that you read with him, first time?
Was it? I think it was about 3. It was one of the bar it was like a bar scene, and then that maybe something else, but yeah, I think
That's a great scene.
the unsuccessful seduction definitely was in there.
What was it like figuring out that scene, together with him? Because it is very funny how it keeps turning and you don't really know, how it's gonna end. but, I thought you guys did a great job in that moment.
I am failing to remember exactly how it had a few notes of that, though. A lot of it was, I would say perhaps more different on Steve's part, but John Krasinski was just the illest and allowed us to, like, really sit in sort of nuance and awkwardness and figuring that out. So, kudos to him along with Steve and being able to parse that through.
Do you feel like you've learned something different about acting or yourself or this character just doing the completing the first season and before you head into continuing to play this character?
I I would say to my team all the time, "Hey, guys, I'm I'm actually okay today," right? Or after a week's work, I my nervous system feels good. I'm not depleted. I'm not exhausted, right? Like, it's it's fun and it's delightful, right? To have lightweighted, feelings, in the body and the spirit, right? A lot of things have taken on have been weighty, but you got to balance, and so I'm allowing myself to do that. There are also a lot of loopings. I mean, if you're an actor, you're an actor. Some people, live on the stage. Some people live in this kind of quick quip nature of TV because it's right, and I feel like film allows for a little bit more poeticism and whatnot, but, uh, I found rather that some rhythms of theater can live in TV sometimes, uh, and I mean, it's also about the partner, the scene partners, but I find a bit of of everything in each medium of these, of those that trio. So, yeah.
Let's face it, after a night out of drinks, it can be hard to bounce back, but that's where Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink comes in. It's a genetically engineered probiotic invented by PhD scientists. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, more than dehydration, that's to blame for rough days after drinking. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel like yourself the next day. From the crack of the bat at the stadium to the start of wedding season and the roar of the engines in Indy, May is packed with back-to-back reasons to be out. Don't let a rough morning after keep you on the sidelines. Drink pre-alcohol to stay ahead of it and make the most of every Saturday this month. Go to zbiotics.com/OTP to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use OTP at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with 100% money back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reasons, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/OTP and use the code OTP at checkout for 15% off.
Did you have a specific ambition when you started out? I mean, I know you started out in theater in Atlanta,
Still
right?
in it. It never nothing leaves, it doesn't go away, it's all still there.
Yeah. Was there a goal at that time or something where you thought, "If only I could do this type of project or this type of character?"
When I was doing theater, did I think
Mhm.
it's a that's a we it's a question that, folks get. I'm dealing with what's in front of me, I don't have some long form character dream. I'm very much in the present of my experiences. And I would say, that's has to do a lot with movement and having, originated in the dance world. Because the body can instantaneously do the thing that is a natural first language, right? Like I'm trying to, and in certain contexts, time African continental perspectives, time is just very different than Western. It's about the past and it's about the proximate past and the present or the proximate present. And so this idea of this futurity is just that ain't happened yet, right? And so everything that I'm in right now is about this what's happening right now, right? Um, and I feel good about those things. That stuff has come to talk about development or whatnot, but I wanna be here right now, artistically.
So I do want to talk about some of your, past projects and do it in a kind of career speed round of sorts.
Mhm,
Um, Starting with the first time that I remember seeing you on screen was in season 2 of Atlanta,
mhm.
where you're in an episode that's set at a New Year's Eve party that may or may not be hosted by Drake.
Yes.
And you get to kind of enter this world of Atlanta that was such a beautiful show. And I'm curious what it was like for you to do that as sort of an earlier TV job and getting to enter that world.
Yeah, that's funny 'cause everything was largely TV, my introduction, right? Um, that I mean, that was great. I mean, Atlanta's just is its own beast of sorts. It moves at TV pace, kinda, not. It has a filmic, poetic nature to it. It's stark and awkward and all that good stuff. I love coming in on that coattail. Um, um, I think Atlanta's a weird place, and I coming in on the banner of weird is ideal to me, right? Like, that's the kind of stuff that I'm into. It's the kind of work that I do, for commercial efforts as well as experimental efforts, stuff that folks don't quite know a lot of the things that I've had the opportunity to do in the city, particularly in this locale. Yeah. Weird is wonderful. And I anticipate doing more of it, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think you've done a lot of things that could be considered weird. Yeah, as you said, on the commercial side, I know you're also an artist. Um, Watchmen is one that you got to do some very unique work in, and that's a could be called a weird show. I think it was a pretty brilliant show in so many ways.
So weird.
Yeah, so weird. What was it? What stands out from that experience of because you kind of had an isolated role in that show where you're playing in a
This is appropriate, man. This is so good. This is so good because I was just talking about, like, how theater and TV theater really pushed the ability to understand the rhythm of Rooster. Theater was why I was hired. I remember Steven, he was the director of that. I'm forgetting Steven's last name. But Jovan and I were play husband and wife on there, and we're the grandparents of hope no spoilers for nobody who's not watching it, right? But grandparents of Regina King's character,
Mhm.
and he said he wanted people who had theater backgrounds because we would be doing multiple takes, and when I say multiple, we got up to 20 something, and he was like, "Yeah, now we're getting somewhere." And I was like, "You damn right." Like, that was so fun. It's not as exhaustive as some where, stories of people doing 100 takes. Okay, whoa, right? But this was building, building the engine, man, and because it had so much dialogue, and it had those kind of surreal movements of the historical folks moving through the present of the scene or whatever. I just remember that being, heart racing in the best way, and being on point. There was nothing about you that could not be ultra sharp and ultra focused and ultra disciplined. You do it when you get up to, take 20 something. It's like, "Ooh, yeah, let's roar." And so I just remember feeling sharp at that time. I mean, like having to be undeniably sharp.
Yeah. Then came Station 11, which, as I said, is one of my just all-time favorite shows on HBO that I think is totally underrated. I don't think enough people probably saw it, but they should if they haven't. It's this terrifying apocalyptic story in a lot of ways that did you shoot it during COVID or right before? Or because it had this sort of weird thing where it came out and it felt so eerie to what was happening in real life.
That thing was haunting me along the way. January 2020, I was in Chicago. We were filming in the cold. A polar vortex came, man. No game. I'm from Atlanta. No. But mad love and respect to Chicagoans. But yeah, we were filming that first episode at that time. Um, we were only there we were there for maybe about 3, 4 weeks, something like that, and then we did a short stint in Los Angeles, and then that's when the shit hit the fan in March.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's wild. And then, yeah, and then by the time the show came out, we'd all kind of experienced this thing that the show was reflecting without having you couldn't have known while you were making it that it was going to do that.
Yes, the hell you could. I was listening to everything, okay?
You knew it was coming.
It was me. I was telling people, "Yo, shit's happening in" like, one of the doctors had flew to, like, the Philippines or some shit and died, and I was keenly aware, and I was like, "Oh, we've got mask and this and that and the flu and all it's happening in the show. I guess I guess we're alright." And, like, one of the first people who came back and flew into America, came to Chicago. It was it was a mind scrambling time. And so I was like, "Oh shit, we're in LA. Great. Heat." And then next thing you know, that was it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, wild. On the film side, I want to talk about Till, which had both this intense responsibility of playing a real life person, and then also your first real exposure to the madness of award season, which
Oh,
I can
yes.
imagine is crazy. Um, how did you deal with both of those things sort of at the same time?
Um, with the filming process or this
Well, with the filming and then the sort of release and dealing with because I know, people may or may not know that you got a lot of awards attention for that movie, and then, the narrative was that you were snubbed from the Oscars. I think that was sort of how people described it. I don't know if that's how you feel now. But how do you think about it now?
I think that the award season was more of a whirlwind than doing the film. There's peace in making a film. There's a nucleus, uh, um, and a kind of protection in telling the story and knowing you have to do it when you have a significant amount of time. I think I had oh, maybe it's from the summer when I was brought on to we filmed in, like, September, October, so I had maybe 2, 3 months or something like that. Um, so I was already charged with the responsibility, and so I had an ample amount of time to prepare. Shnoy and I had a lovely, lovely dynamic. She is a brilliant woman, and so you just protect it in that way, and then you're carrying a legacy. Again, I've had the opportunity to or I'm poised to have the opportunity to do that for, some other future works. I take those things extremely, extremely seriously. And so you're cocooned in a way. I like hermeticism anyway. It's peace in nature. And then award season is a whole 'nother bugger. It ain't got no, um, it ain't got no boundaries, kinda, it's a lot of energy, a lot of different people, it's a lot of, rote conversations, but they have to be had, and I think that there's a spirit to making them not feel rote in the way that you engage them, or in the way that I was engaging them. Um, and yet it's tiresome, it's because transference of energy is a lot, whether you do it in your house or out in the streets. But I understand the value of having the conversations. I understand the value of being present in some spaces. Being present in all the spaces is a whole 'nother thing.
Do you think you would approach it differently now if you were sort of thrust into that position again?
I mean, I did again. Big shouts to my PR team. Piano lesson was it felt different. And the thing of it is I did some projects in the midst of those runs too, right? And I just think it's about, um, where do you wanna put your energy? What's valuable? What's highly valuable? I felt like it's highly valuable to have the conversations about those films, particularly, I mean, especially, right, the history of, mainly in Emmett Till's lives and what it means for this country, what it means for the history of Black people, what it means for American people. And then the piano lesson just as a work that has a specific story, history, and legacy with August Wilson and what that kind of story means to Black American spirituality and culture. And these things, our films live what kind of life they have after a freaking award show. That's the life. It's not about like this blip of time. This is something to be archived and something to be referred to about how conversation was happening in the midst of a release. But the conversation extends and will reveal itself to have a specific value in the proximate present.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. Another TV show that performance that I loved of yours was the one episode you did of the bear in the episode directed by Io Debary.
No, Io and Lionel wrote it, and Janixon directed it.
Oh, okay. Janixa Bravo directed it. That's
Mhm,
right. Io
mhm.
wrote it. Thank you. In that episode, you are playing that's another big comedic performance, very different from Rooster. I'm just curious, where did that character come from? Was it just on the page and having conversations with the director, or is that a character that you felt like you knew?
I do know her. She is wild, Matt. She is wild. I saw her on the page. Lionel and Io did a big one in being able to share that kind of story. The quietude of it, and just her as a mother with this, she's a fire because she, I mean, mothers have to move with a kind of dynamism, especially if you got other shit to do. And so I mean, I know a quality of that in my own mother, where it's like, oh, you gonna say, okay, I'll be right back, give me 1 second. And 1 second ain't ever 1 second. You might as well times that time times 60 times 60. Next thing you know, it's nighttime, right? Because they're gonna do what they got to do to get what needs to be done, and typically it is for everybody. It's not just the benefit of herself. She dipped and she had to go run mad errands for her, for the baby, mad errands for her husband, mad errands also for her cousin. So I just know what that is, and that kind of wild, make it how I live how I gotta do it. Energy is just, it feels like home.
Yeah, that was a great performance. I mentioned at the top that you're in this new season of Euphoria,
Okay.
which I have seen, and I did not spot your character yet. So I'm wondering if you can tell us anything about what to expect from the rest of this Euphoria season.
Matt, this what I got for you.
A big nothing.
It's a big, this you can't totally see. It's a shrug. I have nothing to give. You just know I'm there.
What about your experience of entering this absolutely insane world of Euphoria? What was that like?
I will say that I am, I can't say nothing. I just think it's beautiful. We shot on film. That's always freaking rad.
It's gorgeous. The new season. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's always a plus plus plus. To be textured, right, in that way. Um, I've I've it's nice to come to communities that are already established. I largely interfaced with this lovely crew whose majority came back each season and wrote it out, and everybody almost, as I was told, over 90% or something like that of crew returned
'Cause
to.
there were some reports of some issues on set in previous seasons. I was curious if that gave you any pause or made you worry at all.
Look, I mean, those things are always concerning, but after such a long stint of time, I think that there has been connectivity amongst folks. I think that this is my experience was a special experience. And I don't go nowhere where kindness ain't being um showered about. That's just my ethic of being as a person and as an artist. And it was good to me.
Well, one more thing that we haven't seen yet, but everyone is very excited about is the X-Files reboot that you have been cast in with
I
Ryan
ain't seen
Coogler.
it either.
What were those conversations like with Ryan that convinced you that this was something that you wanted to do?
He said, "Hi, I'm Ryan Coogler," and I said, "Bet."
Said I'm in.
Who wouldn't? I think that we just had rich conversations about. I'm not telling y'all, it's X. I have nothing to give. I believe in the spirit of surprise. I believe that it's good to be patient and to wait for things, and I believe in privacy.
I'd say there's a lot of anticipation. There's a lot of scrutiny already from the fans. Um,
Who talking? Who? Ain't nobody. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I ain't on the internet, so y'all ain't heard my feelings.
it was enough that Gillian Anderson, who you're sort of picking up the mantle from her in some ways, she was asked about it and she kind of urged fans to give it a chance, knowing that people are sensitive about these things. So what did that mean for you to have her say that to people?
Oh, I didn't know. I think that that's kind. I think that's beautiful. I think, you know, when handles are being kind of like passed over, I think we had to get out of this idea that, something has to remain in this way, allow the change to happen. Change is that's the constant. That is the religion, right? And I think that that's honorable and beautiful of Jillian to share that, to encourage folks to uh remain open-minded.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Danielle Deadwyler, so much for doing this. Rooster is streaming now on HBO Max with new episodes premiering every Sunday night at 10 p.m. on HBO. Danielle Deadwyler, thank you so much for being here.
Matt, thank you for having me.
All right. I want to thank Danielle Deadwyler again for taking the time to talk with me today. I have been a fan of her work for so long, and I can't wait to see all of the amazing things she has coming up next as well. If you're enjoying this show, please follow us on YouTube at The Obsessed Channel. Hit that subscribe button and leave us comments to let us know what you think about this episode and all of our other episodes. You can also leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to let us know how much you love the show and let us know who you want to see as a guest on this show. We want to hear from you, so please reach out. Thank you to our producer, Rachel Passer. We will be back with an all-new episode of Obsessed the Podcast very soon.